This is what the left thinks is important in the Stormy Daniels hush money misdemeanor case. This is what they hope you focus on. And to quote your favorite president and mine, unbelievably, this is not a joke.
Well, the excitement and anticipation in the room hit a new high at 10:32 a.m. She entered wearing all black, as if on her way to a funeral. The loose-fitting, plain black clothing draping from her shoulders to her toes suggested the modesty of a nun.
I honestly, I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know how something like that makes it through writers. I would imagine that show has writers. I don't know what the hell these people are thinking, but I do know that the left is absolutely panicking about the Trump prosecutions. I mean, every single one of them, thankfully. But they're especially panicked about Stormy Daniels. I mean, just listen to some of the angles these people think are going to hold it together for the viewers that they have just spent all this time tricking into thinking that what was happening here is justice.
On the fact that Stormy Daniels now claims that she is a medium and that she communicates with dead people and has participated in a TV series about the paranormal where she explores things, including the fact that at one point an ex-boyfriend of hers was inhabited by spirits. She was mocking Stormy Daniels. She wants the jury to think Stormy Daniels is a liar and she is crazy. And she also wants the jurors to judge her for her occupation. And Stormy Daniels gave no ground on that. As Sue just said, she might be an exotic dancer, an adult film actor, but she was very clear when Susan Neckles used the phrase selling yourself to describe what Stormy Daniels was doing on a tour where she was making appearances at clubs. Stormy Daniels set her straight. I was not selling myself. I was dancing. The implication always was, I am not a sex worker, and I don't have a sign around my neck that says consent given freely to everyone at any time. Right. She was a woman who seemed pretty self-possessed, in control of her own body, and wanting to maintain, essentially, to quote Pretty Woman, I say who, I say when, and not, you know, Donald Trump was mine, that I was for the taking by this man. I increasingly see what Trump did to Stormy Daniels, and she used the phrase, what happened to me, more insidiously than I think I ever have. It is a reinforcement of the predator frame that the Access Hollywood tape introduced.
I don't mean to laugh, man. That is serious stuff, but just listen to it. They're all over the place, man. They go from insisting that Stormy Daniels is just some strong and powerful woman who does what she wants, when she wants, with whoever she wants. They went from that to saying that she was victimized by a predator, Trump, all while trying to convince us that communicating with dead people through your possessed boyfriend, that's not crazy at all. It's totally normal. That's no big deal. I mean, you would think this stuff would wake up at least a few of the victims of this network. I mean, it's got to wake them up, right? I mean, this is all crazy. It's all insane. None of it is important to a criminal case, and none of what she said matters. Nothing Daniels said on the stand is a crime. And if it was a crime, it was her crime. I mean, the things that she claimed, along with the recording of Davis, her attorney, shows pretty clearly that this was a shakedown. This was extortion. And somehow the state of New York thought that was a good idea. I mean, the state thought that this was going to be some sort of smoking gun, which is remarkable stuff when you think about it. I thought these were good prosecutors. I don't know.
So, Danny, 7.5 hours or so of testimony from Stormy Daniels over a couple of days. Truly, you just have to stop and consider the surreal, historic nature of it. A former actress sitting across from a former president of the United States making these accusations at him while he's in the middle of a presidential campaign, by the way. But from your point of view, from where you're sitting, at the end of the day, what kind of witness was Stormy Daniels for the prosecution?
Unnecessary. Stormy Daniels, in my view, represents an unnecessary risk for the prosecution. Here's why. I can't think of any piece of evidence that they got from Stormy Daniels on the prosecution that they couldn't have gotten or didn't already get from other witnesses. The transaction from Cohen to Daniels was established through other witnesses, including Keith Davidson, her former lawyer. To the extent that the value of her story increased as the election approached, we've already heard that evidence from other witnesses. So you may say, well, look, Stormy Daniels was about context. And that's true. But when you think about all the other witnesses, Madeleine Westerhout, Hope Hicks, people with really unimpeachable credibility, if you could get that evidence from them, why risk Stormy Daniels? Because you saw in Stormy Daniels a request for a mistrial, which was going to be denied. But in my view, the very first major appealable issue that you might see up at the appellate division. So if the prosecution gets a conviction and this case comes back in 2 years and it's overturned, the conviction, then the prosecution's going to ask themselves, was it worth the risk?
Of course it's worth the risk, man. I don't know what this guy thinks is really going on, but these people are not working for a conviction. I mean, this is an election interference operation only. This is a campaign event. I mean, a conviction would be icing on the cake for these people, but they do not care about a conviction. They care about slinging mud and tying the man up in court and get him off the campaign trail. That is all this is about.
If the reason that the conviction's overturned is testimony that was given by Stormy Daniels, especially if they could have gotten that information from somewhere else. And I'll just say, look, I'm in the minority. I don't think Stormy Daniels performed particularly well on cross-examination. Witnesses, she's one of those witnesses that just decided, I am not going to give a yes or no answer because I know that's what the cross-examining attorney wants. She fought back at every turn. And yes, to some extent, did she zing Donald Trump and the cross-examining attorney, Susan Nichols? Yes, but at the same time, witnesses who refuse to answer yes or no, refuse to give an inch, sometimes juries see them as concealing things. And that's what Stormy Daniels did.
When that is the takeaway on MSNBC, on the Morning Joe of all places, that's bad, man. There is no other way to look at it. That is bad. Stormy Daniels was not good for the Stormy Daniels hush money misdemeanor case. And here's the thing I think Democrats are starting to recognize, starting to realize. It is highly likely that Donald Trump is found not guilty in New York. And it's just as likely that none of the other cases are going to happen before the election if they ever do happen. And all that's going to do is make everything he ever said about witch hunts or the weaponization of courts, it's just going to make it look all completely true. And it is true. It's going to make people realize that it's true. And it's going to make him look like a friggin' dragon slayer, man. And the left sees it coming. They are absolutely terrified. And I think pretty soon we're going to start seeing a lot of finger pointing and a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking when they all really start to realize that this is not going to be the reason that they win. This is going to be the reason that they lose. And I found a pretty fantastic clip, man. Leftists, they're even starting to feel the heat in England.